Put your rifle down. Get him in there.
Alright, ready?
You were close. Come on, push. There you go. Good job.
Yeah. No, he can't. He's
Talk to your patient.
He's able to help. Alright, we're gonna get you on the litter.
Or 8-digit. They need you all.
You're
gonna have a few guns down because they're gonna be carrying it.
There you go. Now they're not.
You have a rifle?
I got.
Move!
Move.
Come on.
Are we talking to your patient?
All right.
Stop.
So back to the
Sure, yeah. I'm Captain Molly Stewart of the 239th Combat Communications Squadron. I am the senior communicator for this exercise for the tent team. I am Captain Molly Stewart of the 239th Combat Communications Squadron. I am the senior communicator for this exercise. How do I think it went? I feel like as any exercise goes, you have highs and lows. I think some of the key things we were trying to hone in on, we did really well on. Things we've been working on last year, like our teamwork and being more involved regardless of AFSC, understanding we're all performing that same mission and just going where we're needed. I think everybody stepped up from, everything I've seen in the past. This was by far one of our folks' best performances, effort-wise, teamwork-wise. I think there's a lot of training and things, and we've identified all our own shortfalls. Well, we'll hear more, but I think we did a really good job at identifying our shortfalls on one day and correcting them the next day. So right now, while we're kind of off and not doing that particular tent, exercise, we've identified some of those things that we can resolve here and now, and we're working to get those work cards and things together. And then we're working on the next time we go out for this, making sure we bring certain things, making sure we pack a certain way. We've got a bunch of different things that we've identified and checklists and validation things that'll get us moving a lot more smoothly for next time. I think it'll make us more capable, more efficient at what we do, and that's what we need. We were kind of expecting, we're expecting it to be rough. Going into it, we knew some of our equipment wasn't where I think we were where we wanted it to be, I guess, and then some of our folks, it's been a long time since we've done some of these sea burning exercises and things, so we knew we were going to have a little bit of a time with some of that stuff, but surprisingly, it was a little different. It wasn't as, I guess, rough as we were thinking. The whole team was like, I thought this was going to be bad, but it wasn't the same type of bad I was expecting it to be. We were expecting it to be completely miserable, and it really wasn't. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely want to challenge another one of the Combat Comm squadrons to set up time next time. We're going to make it make it a competition now that we know everybody, and I think it'll be good fuel for the fire. Yeah, we sure did. Like I said, we had a lot of our airmen who, weren't quite to their part yet, volunteering for anything and everything they could get their hands on. It was awesome seeing the initiative that they were taking, and once it kept going forward, their job proficiency, was coming out. So these good airman leadership qualities were able to pick up on all of our people as they're working in that more stressful environment than you would see at a standard drill weekend. So it was very good to watch those folks rise, and then when you take out key players with some of those injects, then you get to see how your team operates without you. And very proud of everyone who stepped up. How was it for me? I would say it was challenging. It was my first time doing this as the senior communicator. Probably 2015 was our last AT where we were, maybe it was 2014, we were up in tents and stuff like this. And I was doing an enlisted job, doing my piece. Here I was trying to understand and get a grasp on everyone's part, what I should be doing, how I should be tracking. Making sure I stayed out of the way, I think, was really hard because I was so used to being hands-in. But I had some very good NCOs that were like, oh, you're site commander, don't do this. And I was like, you're right. So I was really glad I had some good folks keep me in line and, again, leaning on my team when I needed to, and learned a lot for myself for what I should be doing, what I should do better next time, my own, not necessarily leadership, but tactical, I'd never set up the tent before. So I think now I know better how to direct and guide and support our folks. So I think the best part for me as a leader, the most inspiring part, was on our final day. Our validation could have been done at 19:30 that evening because of our setup time, and we could have ended the day, at 1900 and then came back the next day. But my team wanted to push through. It was very cool. I didn't force them to do it. They volunteered of their own volition. They said we're gonna keep working this right until the clock chimes, and I was impressed and inspired by how hard everyone was working. So I think we are more ready than we were before going into it, and I think if you give us a little bit more time, I think we'll be way more efficient and more optimal. It's really helped us identify gaps that we had in our own training, and I think while there are some instant benefits we got from doing it this one time, I think what the lessons we learned are what's going to help us in the future. A few more things on our side, making some cheat sheets, making sure we have the right phone numbers for the external dependencies we have on places like DISA and the NOSC, making sure we have the right contact information for the right capability we have up at that point in time, I think would also help us quite a bit. I think our folks are happy to be in a building. I think buildings are great for morale. But no, I think coming in to see what our other team had done and swapping lessons learned and putting our heads together. So we're making some cheat sheets for some of the things that we thought, we'd seen this before, we didn't really document last time, and being able to get on our equipment again to build up those TTPs and things we need to be successful next time, give us a quicker time to get operational and make everything run more smoothly. I think that's the best part about coming off the tent site and getting back in the building with our own folks and sharing those lessons learned and making everything better as a team.
I'm Lieutenant Colonel Bridget Zorn, commander of the 239th Combat Communications Squadron. It's gone great. It's been a readiness exercise and a validation for our teams, but what we really wanted out of it is to come together as an expeditionary comm unit and do the things we haven't gotten to do in so many years as a team, get comfortable being uncomfortable, test our technical skills, and just kind of see where we're at so we know what to train to as we move forward. I think it's the most amazing thing about being combat comm is that we do have a small, tight community all focused on the same mission and skill sets. And I think BUMBU coming together like this has been perfect for that. There's always a chance to improve things, but we've been able to do that both in the mission as we're here throughout the day and then the morale events that people have done throughout the evenings. So it's been a great AT. Airmen are amazing. We've asked them to work hard. We've not put them into the best of conditions or the easiest of conditions. And everybody has pushed through with such a high level of professionalism and teamwork and just the get-after-itness. It's been awesome. We've taken a lot of notes. We'll have a pretty extensive after-action report after this. Some of the planning as this has come to fruition, we've realized we've missed some marks. I think we can definitely improve on that. And then the outcome of this is certainly a training plan so that next time, naturally, the airmanship and the skills will be better. We've been through a couple. The days of the operational readiness exercise and inspections they feel recent to me, but 10 years ago for that. So that's probably as recent as it's gotten. And as an expeditionary comm unit, we want to incorporate more of that into our monthly drill training, do more super drills where we can actually get time on systems. So it's something we want to do, but no, we have not done this recently. Yeah, all the squadrons, as you hear the talk for airmen, they can't wait. This has been such a good thing. The stumbling blocks that we faced, that's nothing. We've printed or created such a great blueprint for future years to come throughout this training environment, and every airman has enjoyed it. This is the first time I've actually gotten to do a flyaway annual training event with the entire team. So watching my airmen operate in the field with the demands that would be placed upon them in a realistic training environment or an operating environment for them has been super beneficial for me. I think if we streamlined how we scheduled the training throughout the process, I probably would have started with some of the TCCC training, Bernie training skills, and then immediately rolled into an exercise and saw a lot more of the ability to survive and operate in that environment and really put our airmen to the test. This time we intentionally backed off of some of that because we knew we hadn't trained to some of those pieces, especially recently. Next time I'd like to push a little bit further. Sure. We deploy often. Unfortunately, recently we've rolled in on equipment that's already been in place. But expeditionary comm requires us to go where there isn't comm. So learning to set up the equipment and do the initial install of that equipment is something we simply haven't trained to. So doing this kind of training does really make us more agile and puts us directly with our mission set for where America needs us next. This is exactly what was planned because the exercise was built for an install team and then a unit to come in and sustain, because that's what we've typically done. We roll in for a sustainment. We realize there's some gaps when you hand over the equipment. So we were excited to practice that install, and at the same time we did create a sustainment piece in here to practice that. Does that make sense? So the agile piece comes with being able to go anywhere and pick up either side of that piece. I couldn't be more proud of the 239th Combat Communications Squadron. They've really pushed hard to make BUMBU a success. We are the largest presence during this exercise, and we've had planners, people driving the buses, the first sergeants taking care of all of the airmen here, and it's really been neat to see the 239th involved in every aspect of making the entire exercise for all the 6 participating squadrons a success. It's not over. I will say the level of training, and when we came here for the ancillary training, we as an expeditionary comm community wanted the real deal. So the tactical combat casualty care class that we did, I thought I was in a good class yesterday, and then they actually had security forces training today's class, and it was even better. The realism of the training and the stress that we're able to challenge our airmen with is exactly what we wanted out of BUMBU. Okay, the 254th Combat Communications Group has always kind of wanted the units to come together at one time. We were able to leverage a lot of best practices and lessons learned as a community with that. And for the 239th, it's been a great opportunity because we're on the heels of a European Deterrence Initiative tour, COVID, and a deployment, and we really wanted a large, full-scale annual training event for our team. So we've been heavily involved with the planning from start to finish with this. Very committed to its success. The planning for BUMBU was about a year.
I'm Chief Master Sergeant Casey O'Brien. I'm the Senior Enlisted Leader for the 239th Combat Communications Squadron. I feel that BUMBU is going fantastic so far. The fact that we are able to identify where our strengths lie, where our weaknesses lie, that we have multiple teams out here. We have some of our more experienced players in the more austere environment, and seeing how that contested situation plays out with our subject matter experts, and then also baselining some of our newer trainees on an equipment validation piece and initial training, and seeing how we can tailor our training plan for both of those sets of individuals within our squadron. We're identifying a lot of areas where we can improve and a lot of best practices so far. Oh, it's been fantastic. These are a lot of people we've seen before. These are the same people that we do our European Deterrence Initiative missions with. These are the same people that we deploy with. It's nice to be able to see some of the faces, especially for some of our more junior airmen who communicate across these squadrons on teams that kind of resolve issues together. But we also see some of our people reaching out for help to those who may be able to do, I think, such as equipment checks a little bit better than we may do. Maybe they've automated some processes or refined some things that we can improve upon. And we're kind of going back and forth, and it's really great to bounce ideas off of each other in this kind of setting. For planning this exercise, the Combat Comm group reached out to the squadron commanders and leadership just to see what they wanted. They wanted to kind of gauge what the commanders wanted to draw out of an exercise of this scale and what they needed from their community, their specialty in particular. So it's been interesting. Everybody has a little bit of a different objective based on where their people are and where we are in our training plans and our readiness. So it's been interesting just to have the commander's perspective and see where we compare to the other squadrons and putting something to this scale together just to be able to accomplish outside of our comfort zones. I'm very anxious to see the next iteration of this. This is the first time that we've put something on like this. I know all of the leadership from each squadron and the group and the MAGCOM gets together each day to do a hot wash about what is working with this scenario and what isn't, and how we can improve it for next year. I think the scales may differ by squadron, how much participation we have each year based on our ops tempo. I know we'll have a few more people gone TDY by next year, but we may have different objectives by then, and some of our training gaps have been filled or we're progressing, and we'd like to test them again and see if what we've developed as corrective actions has actually worked. Absolutely. I think that when we were preparing for this exercise and trying to focus on how to get our work centers spun up into this environment, we saw a lot of our technicians put in a whole bunch of effort in a super drill the month prior to this. We did a whole bunch of pack up, mobility training, palletizing equipment, and the one thing I am very impressed at is our communications focal point. From both sites, they were able to develop a robust plan in order to keep accountability of all the personnel, status of systems and capabilities, and be able to keep our leaders informed and up-channel any issues and report properly. That's been, I think, one of our highlighted best practices. A big challenge, well, for the future, I think that we'll certainly face maybe a variety in how we shelter ourselves. So we weren't as expedient in creating the structure and the power and the environment to be able to get our equipment up and running for our initial 2-hour initial contact window. So being able to figure out a new way to expedite setup to make initial contact to receive an air tasking order from higher headquarters, that's going to be probably one of our biggest hurdles to face. For me personally, it has been a learning experience. I just put on chief a handful of months ago, so I'm learning to draw back out of the teams and kind of guide them. I've been focusing a lot on professional development and health of the force, so checking in on our team leads. I know, having come back from deployment last year, being the site superintendent, I've been kind of helping and mentoring our 2 different team superintendents run through the injects and take care of their work centers. So for me, it's been great. I've been giving them feedback. They've been telling me what I can do to help prepare them for this sort of situation. I know the idea was that we come in here and not try to cheat by practicing anything beforehand, but see where we are, to see where our leaders are and see if I've done my job in help preparing our leaders for this sort of environment. It's been a learning experience for me as well. I think our teams have done an amazing job. You see them out there every day, working hard, sweating, getting to do a lot of the manual labor, and then getting inside, do some critical thinking, a whole lot of troubleshooting on our equipment, some issues we've never faced before, and to see the resolve throughout all of it, and at the end of the day come back exhausted and just happy that they're learning something every day. It's a great feeling seeing our teams come together and go through these obstacles together. I think this experience as a whole has been something to kind of brighten up our airmen's perspective on their role in the mission. They get to see how they're contributing overall, what their service actually means, what kind of impact that they're creating within our squadron and within our community. And you see a lot of people branching out and making new friends, and a lot of those teams where they had their little groups, they're all kind of blending together and meeting a lot of people and learning some great stuff.
Sure. So we've been supporting the 15th Special Operations Squadron, as well as our CSS from the 239th in order to facilitate their training. So overall, it's been great just to get our entire squadron together and see how each other interact, as well as the rest of the combat communications community in order to establish crosstalk, best practices. It's also helped me a lot with getting to know all the airmen from different shops that I may not interact with on a normal drill weekend, as well as other squadrons that we may deploy with in the future. It is very important. It's something that we're taking as a key takeaway that we can move forward on typical drill weekends, to have trainings like this and hopefully be able to understand how each career field does their job, how we interact, and how we are truly dependent on each other in order to I guess create a better work environment that is very seamless as we continue to run our missions. I think some of my expectations were really accomplishing the mission that we were kind of expected to as part of the exercise, but really just a true focus on training. I think as long, as far as my expectations, if people were, working hard and having a good time and learning something, I think we've accomplished our goal. And then, if we're able to, accomplish our timelines and the mission as part of the exercise, that's, kind of our true goal. But without kind of the people piece and the learning, that's the true part of annual training. Kind of our main goal there. I think we've done really well. We've had shops like our RF shop who've done established capabilities that we've never done as a squadron, as well as, I think establishing SATCOM was up within the first couple of hours or first 24 hours, which is fantastic, as well as, getting most of our services with limited capabilities, not having a CFK, not having a Iridium phone, and really relying on our core service to establish initial comms and really support all of our customers. Yeah, so I think, we've run into issues, here where if we're deployed and we're trying to spin this up, we run into things we have to troubleshoot. We're dealing with weather, we have power outages, which I think is all real world, as well as, inject type personnel issues, real personnel issues, and I think this just helps prepare us and identify gaps where we need to solve in our training, which allows us to, just recognize real world issues when they do occur, and kind of understand, how we move forward when dealing with adversity. Absolutely. I think for the first time, conducting one of these, it's been really successful. I think from talking with a lot of folks on our team and more broadly, it's been very well received. I think creating more crosstalk between the squadrons in the future is a space we need to improve on, and we've already, I guess, through this experience, identified a lot of areas that we can improve on for next year, and things that we've actually improved upon, kind of day after day. Sure. So when I joined the 239th back in, I guess, early 2020, we were doing, COVID, kind of peak COVID time. We were doing remote drills, and I didn't have an opportunity to meet a lot of the people in the squadron. And then actually since then, I've only been supporting one flight and just haven't had enough face time. So this exercise has given me a ton of opportunity of really meeting, 50%, over 50% of our squadron, and, work with them day to day in a, working environment of accomplishing a common goal. So for me, just getting to know people has been kind of the largest takeaway, as well as not being a part of combat comm in the past, and being able to truly understand, all the services that we can provide and how we actually provide them to customers. Yeah, I mean, it's been great. Having, my team chiefs, and let me pause there. How has it been? So getting to know everyone has been great. Like I said, I think you need a great working environment to accomplish the mission. And if I'm able to know or connect and know each individual on a personal level, I think that allows us to be very candid in the way that we work, and I think move a lot faster than we would if we didn't have that rapport kind of established. Yeah, I think overall, as a combat comm community, we need to train like we deploy more often and frequently, so that new members coming in within like a 6-month period, rather than just attending annual or monthly drills, that we're training like this all of the time. So it's something that I would like to see coming out of this, and I think our leadership has recognized that as well, that we need to train like we do in a deployed environment, especially in a kind of a bare-based environment. So being able to do smaller scale versions of this at home station, and just more frequently as a community as a whole, to standardize things that we do, understand best practices, and collaborate on how we continue to improve.